Hey guys, it's Barbie with Two Friends in a Bible. I am just coming to you today to do a update on what's going on in the world. It's actually our 18th update. Never realized we'd get this much. And it used to be at one point in time you could get on the news and it would be maybe every couple of days and you can catch up on everything. And then it was like a couple times a week and then every day. And now it's like every minute something's changing. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about nuclear survival, Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Italy. Also going to talk a little bit about stocking up. Okay. And, to be honest with you, I never in a gazillion years believed or imagined that we would ever be talking about nuclear survival, especially here in the United States. It just never thought that we would be talking about. And the only time in our world's history that's involved a nuclear attack was at the end of World War II. And that's when the United States, sent the two nukes to Japan, which killed thousands and thousands of people. I think it was like 250,000, but here we are, 2022. And yes, today is September 26th, 2022. Cannot believe it is almost October. Um, to be honest with you, on the nuclear war part, I'm still actually studying myself on what to do in the event of a nuclear war, how to protect ourselves, what we need to do, that kind of thing. And I don't know a whole lot about nuclear war. The only thing I do know is the bombs that we used, and I am not a scientific person, but the bombs that we used in Hiroshima and in Japan, the two bombs that we dropped were incredibly powerful, obviously, but the ones that they actually have now, they're made a little different. And so they're supposed to be even way more powerful than that. So I can't even fathom what would happen if one of these drops. So anyway, I don't have a lot of information to tell you personally on how to do that, but I do watch a guy on YouTube who is very good at explaining what you need to do, how a nuclear bomb works, what you need to do in the event of a nuclear bomb. Okay. And he's on YouTube and he goes by the name of NY Prepper, like New York Prepper, NYPREPPER. You can go to his page and you can search his videos and you'll find several different videos. I think he's got like 40 videos. But you could probably just choose one and get as much information as you want. And you can also go to his website, which is newyorkprepper.com. And he's got a lot of articles and things on his website on nuclear. Okay. So, what's interesting with him is that he started doing this several years ago before we even thought about nuclear bombs. I mean, maybe once in a blue moon if something happened, it might cross our mind, but never like it is today. And I think he kind of got laughed at, a little bit. And now people are like going to him to see what they need to do. So I highly recommend doing this. You can, so you can protect yourself and so that you're prepared. Okay. One of the things he's going to tell you is that, like, for instance, if a nuke hits, let's just say New York City, I use New York City because, let's face it, if they're going to nuke, they're probably going to go after larger cities. And he said that from New York City, if we were to be hit with one of the bombs they have now, the fallout would actually go as far as Montana. So if you can go from New York all the way to Montana, you can imagine how far down south that can go and how far north, up even into Canada. So yeah, you definitely need to prepare and protect yourself. And if the worst thing happens, the worst thing that might happen is it doesn't happen. But the worst, well, that's the best thing, but worst thing is that it does, but the best thing would be that you are prepared. Okay. And, before anything, make sure you're right with God. Make sure you are building your relationship with Jesus Christ. Okay. You just, make sure you're doing that. That is so incredibly important. and make sure that you stockpile things that you're going to need, such as ammunition and food. And even if we don't have a nuclear bomb, or there's a lot of rumors going around that, and and I can't say that these rumors I'm hearing it from are 100% reliable, but I don't discount them either because I always believe in being prepared. And rumor has it that we will be in especially before the elections in America, we will be in some sort of a blackout or maybe a internet outage, something to that nature. They're saying possibly because of the elections, it could stop the elections. I don't know. You hear a lot of conspiracy things, but you know, it's a possibility. And then in Europe, they're having serious issues with fuel, and it's coming to the United States too. And food shortages are going on all over the world. Africa is expected to be starving by the end of the year. Food pantries are closing. We have a place out here in Georgia that's called Collier's, and it's a neat little place. You pay like $10. And it used to be you'd go in and you'd get crates of grapes and lettuce and tomatoes and all kinds of vegetables and stuff. And now when you go in, then it got to the point where you would go in and you might get one pack of grapes, one pack of tomatoes. It got much less. Now it's where they're only open a couple days a week. So we're seeing it through them, that it's happening. At our grocery store, we're still pretty much able to get what we need. We have been having some trouble getting her food, Sally Rose's food, but we're still able to get her stuff, and I can always make it if I need to. But yeah, so you might want to stock up on things like that. Your animals' food, cat food, dog food, hamster food, whatever you have, you might want to stock up on it. Worst case scenario, we can survive without toilet paper and paper towels. We don't want to, but we could. But we can't survive without food and water. Okay, so just think on that, okay? And I'm not, what I'd like to tell you, I'm not trying to put fear in you, but yeah, I kind of am, because I want you to be protected and I want you to be taken care of. And if you have extra money, get some extra things. And in that way, if your neighbors aren't listening and it comes down to something happening, then you can help your neighbors. Okay, so now we're going to get into Russia. I tell you what. The rumor's still going on that Putin is sick. He's not looking as healthy and perky as he was. There again, he's in his 70s and he's under a lot of stress right now. So that could be it. But there is a lot of rumor that he is a sick man. And if that's the case, in addition to just who he is, he don't stand to lose anything, he don't stand to lose anything, so, and he's pulling out all the strings. I mean, and he does not appear that he is going to give up on this issue in Ukraine, regardless of what it costs in lives, money, anything. He don't care. He's not going to give up. He's just going to keep on going. And my last update, I talked about Putin declared he was going to do a partial mobilization and was calling up all reserves and any previous military, which totaled about 300,000 people. These reserves have no army, no military like fighting training. I'm not a military expert either, but fighting training, they don't have any training with that. So that's going to be rough on them. But in addition, not just the reserves, they're calling in anyone that's been in the military. And from what I understand, at this point, they've got about 260,000 of them called up already. And I don't know. That's, it's scary. It's like he's just sending them out to die, and that's just breaks my heart. So one of the other thing that he's doing is there's several cities, it's in I think the eastern and the southern area of Ukraine, that he is working on annexing these cities. And what he's doing right now is he's got like a vote going on in these cities. And I think it's supposed to be over by tomorrow. And Most likely they're going to vote yes. They want to be under Russia control because the people that were in these cities, the Ukrainian people that were like pro-Ukrainian, they've already left. And the people that's still in these cities, they are more pro-Russian. So rumor is that they're probably going to agree. And he's got them going in, and you just vote yes or no. And so, and I listened to several videos of people over there that they were asking, and they were wanting to do it, you know. So I have a feeling it's most likely that's gonna go through. And if these cities do indeed vote yes, and they do become annexed, Putin is going to declare them part of Russia, and a new line is going to be drawn as to the border, you know, and where Russia land is. He's going to consider it that it's his. And the United States and many Western countries have stated that they're not going to recognize these cities as part of Russia. Even though that's what he's doing, annexing them, they're not going to recognize it. And what's going to happen is once these cities are annexed, if anyone attacks them, that's going to be declaring war on Russia. So if you go in, let's say it's Kiev for whatever reason, and NATO or the United States or even Ukraine goes in and attacks that city, it's going to be considered an act of war against Putin, I mean, against Russia. Okay, so that's why he's doing this. And he's doing it because he's also trying to keep Ukraine from taking over these cities. I don't think he ever thought he was going to do as badly as he's done. And I don't think anybody did, you know, and like we've said before in these videos, you know, if it wasn't for the West sending all this equipment, he would not be doing nearly as well as he's doing. And then in addition, okay, so then we've also found out that through a leak that Putin actually, in his speech, said he was taking up 300,000. He's actually saying it's actually 1.2 million. There was a clause in there that he didn't talk about, but it's actually 1.2 million people can be drafted. And that's not the 300,000 he was talking about. That's not a partial mobilization. That is a full-on mobilization. And listen, guys, I know that especially people over here in the West, that when you see something going on over like in Europe or Middle East or whatever, you think to yourself that this isn't affecting me. Why am I worried about it? I'm not watching this stuff. It doesn't affect me. Well, you know, it does. It does affect you. It affects you tremendously. I mean, look at our gas prices. And, you know, yeah, they're going down a little bit right now, but I guarantee you after the elections, they're going to go right back up. You know, number 46 is tapping into our reserves. You know, that's only going to go for so long. So yeah, they're going to go back. The prices are going to go back up. Enjoy it while you can, but it's not going to stay this way. You know, and Europe's losing. They're in a world of hurt over what's going to happen with this because, you know, they're concerned about how they're going to keep themselves warm this winter. And you never know. I mean, and what happens over there does bleed over here. Okay. So what's happening will bleed over here. And people will say, well, they can't reach us with nukes. Well, in one of my previous videos, I explained to you how Iran has, which I'm assuming Russia has them too, but the precise guided missiles. And those missiles, you know, when they shoot them over here, they go exactly precisely, hence precise guided missiles, where they have shot them off and where they want them to land. Well, they can attach nukes to those missiles. Okay, so yes, they can indeed hit us. And maybe not the nuke itself, straight nuke, but they can attach it to these missiles. So it can indeed get us. Okay, so don't think that we're immense to this. Not to mention, if Putin decides to nuke Ukraine, which rumor is, there's a couple, I was listening to a general talking, or maybe it was an admiral talking yesterday or this morning. And he said that there's a couple things Putin could do. he could go ahead and send in these people he's drafting into the army, basically sending them to their deaths because they're not trained. They're not prepared to fight a war. And so basically sending them to the front lines to die. And he could do that. And then if it doesn't work, then he could turn around and nuke them. Or, which we're kind of thinking this might be, that he was kind of thinking this might be what he is going to do, but you can't always, can't read people's minds. But go ahead and nuke Ukraine first, especially like in the city of Kiev. And that way you weaken. You weaken the country, you weaken the military, you weaken their morals. You kill a lot of people. So that would probably be the right move to make. But he also knows that if he shoots a nuke, then the United States, NATO, and some other countries, Western countries, are going to get involved. And he knows that. So we'll just wait and see what's going to happen. So in addition to this, he's planning to shut all his borders down and declare martial law. And he's expected to do this between September 27th and September 28th, which would be Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. No men, we've talked about this before, between the ages of 18 and 65 are allowed to leave Russia. And anyone who does not show up for the draft or tries to leave the country, they face up to 10 years in prison. And that's just been in the last few days. But when they completely right now, the borders are shut down to men 18 to 65. But pretty soon, in the next couple of days, it's going to be complete shutdown. And hundreds of thousands of people have actually rushed to escape Russia. They don't want to be a part of this war. Borders are jam-packed. Planes and railways have raised their prices astronomically. An airline ticket to get out of Russia is like $5,000 now. $5,000. I mean, it's crazy. And Putin, he's incredibly angry with the West, primarily the U.S., because of the amount of weapons we've sent Ukraine, which is why they are doing as well as they do. And the U.S. and the West have stated that they intend to continue sending weapons to Ukraine, and Ukraine will continue to try and take this land back, which is the eastern and southern parts of Ukraine. And if so, Putin has made it very clear that if anyone tries to interfere, he will pull off the big guns, which is nukes. And again, when Putin says something, he means what he says, and he says what he means. He don't beat around the bush. There's some chatter that Putin is actually, we talked about it was 300,000 pulling up. Then we found out it was actually 1.2 million. Now there's some chatter going on that he's actually planning on assembling a 3 million man army to go into Ukraine. It just gets bigger and bigger. Every time we hear. Now, that one's not confirmed, but it is from a pretty reliable source that is a very strong possibility. So let's keep an eye on that and see. That's 3 million man army. Wow. Okay, there's a city in Russia. It's called Dagestan, it's actually a Muslim territory in Russia. And they're having huge, big riots. There was this one video of the Russian police trying to, they were doing something, and this woman, she was in the Dagestan area. She chased them off and got rid of them. And then the Russian police were trying to arrest a man, and the Muslim people, they just chased them off. So they're, most likely, if there's going to be an uprising in Russia against Russia's government, it's going to start right there. And it's going to be them. They don't have any interest in anything Russia's doing. They're Muslim. They don't care. And they don't want to be a part of it. So, yeah, there's a lot of intense situations going on right now. And, the sad thing is most of this army that Putin is assembling is mostly amateurs. And they have no experience. None. I mean, just sending them to the death. And the first wave that Putin sent was his best troops. And we see how that went. So his best troops were not able to do what needed to be done. So how are these amateurs going to do it? So, basically Putin's just going to draft anyone that's within fighting age. Sorry about that. My husband got home and my little fur child, Sally Rose, was all excited. Okay, so basically what we were saying is that Putin's going to draft anyone within fighting age. Prior to, in the beginning when all this was happening, it really wasn't affecting the Russian people too terribly much. So they really were not that upset yet, because now they're very angry, very angry. And because, it's affecting them now. They're sending their husbands, sons, brothers, fathers, all that to war that is, you're not even training the people. They don't even have the training, and men up to 65 years old. I mean, it's crazy. Many of the Russians over the last week or so have been trying to escape into Finland and Mongolia due to the no visa restrictions. Both those countries are getting ready to close their borders, though, because they just can't house any more people. Big protests going on in Moscow and St. Petersburg as well, which, if you don't know this, but protesting in Russia is illegal, so they're taking some big chances. In fact, Russia's actually even put out a law that when you talk about the Ukrainian situation, you have to say a military operation and not a war. It's illegal to say war. And then, you think about it too, all these troops, which could be up to 3 million, that he's sending into this war, these people aren't going to be working anymore. So you're going to start having a lot of financial difficulties. Their economy is probably going to tank. It's a good chance. And our U.S. National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, warned Putin and the Kremlin personally that there will be catastrophic consequences as if he uses nukes, as well as the Western capital is warning Putin the same thing. I don't think Putin cares. I don't think he cares. I really don't. The president of the European Union Council, Joseph Borrell, spoke to the BBC and stated this war has reached a dangerous moment and they are taking Putin's nukes threats seriously, as they should. And Ukraine's commander-in-chief stated now that they have finished with Putin's professional army. It's now time to deal with the amateur ones. So they recognize that the professional army's gone in. They dealt with them. And now the amateurs are coming in. They're not worried at all. And when Putin met with China, President Xi, he warned him that they need to get this situation over with soon. He did. We did find that out. And it's been estimated that between 200 and 250,000 men were able to leave Russia prior to the border shutting down. And speaking of China, a couple of days ago, he was at a conference thing, and all of a sudden, he just takes off with his people and they fly back to China. Something's going on, but nobody knows really what it is yet. Rumor was going around that they were trying to do a coup and throw him out, but it's an unconfirmed rumor. We don't know that that's true, but he hasn't been seen in a couple of days. And there is a lot of action going on over there right now. So we're kind of curious what's going on. We'll just have to keep our eyes on and ears on and see what's going on. Because he did rush back, and then now, we haven't seen him in a couple of days. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on that one. Okay, then on Iran, not so much Iran, but Russia is using a lot of the Iranian drones now, and they've had some good success with it. But Ukraine's also been able to shoot them out. So yeah, but they have some success with it. And then now Israel is going to be giving Ukraine equipment to actually shoot down the Iranian drones that Iran gave Russia. Israel is also getting ready to start releasing gas to Europe. It's probably going to be by January, but they're already starting to get ready to pull it. And Lebanon, where they found this pipeline, it kind of goes from Israel and it does go into Lebanon. So Lebanon wants a piece of the action. And Israel's like, no, sorry, we found it. So Israel's like, no, you're not getting a piece of the action. So now Lebanon's really upset with Israel. And, Iran's already hates Israel. And now Iran's sending these drones to Russia. Israel's sending stuff to, everybody's getting involved. You see what this is leading up to, right? Okay. Now, Italy has elected a new prime minister. Yeah, it's the first time that they have ever elected a female prime minister. And her name is Giorgia, Giorgia Meloni, Meloni. She is very far right person. And so she's got the left side over there, and in a lot of places, very upset and worried. But she is the first female. The British pound has dropped to an all-time low. Its value is now $1.06. Is $1.06 now. So yeah, it's dropped quite a bit. And we're going to get on to just a little bit of weather. I did not have a chance to get on and check like earthquakes, volcanoes, things like that. But there is, there was that Fiona. She actually ended up hitting Canada, which is rare for Canada to get something like that. And she did some damage, saw some videos. Now we've got one that's called Ian, IAN, and he's pretty angry right now. Early this morning, he was right below Cuba and Jamaica, but as of right now, the forecast for Florida is not looking really good. It's looking like Ian's going to actually strengthen into a major hurricane, and he's going to with a direct hit on Florida. Now, where he's going to hit is still a few hours off for us to know that. Most likely, it's going to hit somewhere in that panhandle, but it's also going to hit Florida. The regular, the other side. So we'll see what's going to happen. Right now, like I said, it's looking like northeastern area, Florida, and the eastern panhandle. It could change. But the governor of Florida, he actually issued a state of emergency for the entire state of Florida, and he's already pre-filed for disaster relief from the federal government. And the problem is going to be, and why they are not 100% sure. See, right now, I think Ian's like a tropical storm. But once he goes past Cuba, you're going to get in all that warm water that's in the Gulf, and he's just going to. So that's where they're really watching to see once he gets past Cuba, what's going to happen. And, when you hit that warm water, it strengthens them storms, and we'll just see where it actually turns. Is it going to go this way right across Florida? Is it going to go this way, go up to Georgia and South Carolina? Or is it going to kind of stay here on the panhandle, maybe turn over here to Louisiana? I don't think so. I think it's going to stay in the Florida area, but we should know later. But it's a pretty doozy, considering we haven't really had any hurricanes this year. Not many, not really. Yeah, considering it's almost October. Oh, one last thing too, right before I got on here, Putin has just said that he is declaring war, actual war, October 1st. Okay, so there's that. And y'all just keep your heads up. Make sure you go to New York Prepper on YouTube, or you can go to, NY Prepper on YouTube. Check out his nuclear video, or go to his website, NewYorkPrepper.com, and check out some information on what to do to prepare for a nuclear attack. Okay. Y'all have a good one. I'll update again as soon as I got some more info. All right. Thank you.